Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to the Heroes and Legends audio podcast. This is episode 7. It's been a couple weeks since we had an episode. It's good to get back to it. And it's always nice to be able to do one of these and just talk to you all, go off script a little bit, and just give you my thoughts on what's happening in the world of Magic the Gathering. Now, a lot of times I'll talk about a non-Magic related topic in these episodes as well, but today I have 3 topics and they actually all are Magic related. First thing we're going to talk about today is the holiday promo card, and I'll show it to you all. It was premiered a couple days ago, but I just wanted to give you some of my thoughts on maybe a way Wizards could deploy these in the future for the players to actually get a hold of. Secondly, I wanted to talk quickly about the no changes to the restricted and banned list that occurred a couple days ago and just give you my thoughts on that. And then finally, I want to discuss some of the Magic products that will be coming out over the next few months and really raise the topic, is it too much? Because there's a lot happening right now in the game. Now, quickly before we get started today, just a real fast reminder, if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to help support the channel, one of which is our Patreon page. We just recently created a new full art treasure token. This is a classic art token you see on your right side there. It's available for patrons at the gold and silver level, and we're still giving away the angel token, which is our older one as well. So for more details, just check out the Patreon page. And if you're not into Patreon, you can also support us through our Amazon product links. Once you go through one of those links, anything you purchase on Amazon will get a small percentage. And also, Flipside Gaming is nice enough to give our viewers a promo code to save some money. They're doing pre-orders right now for Iconic Masters if you're looking for some booster boxes of those, or really anything else. They have a lot of stuff on there, so check it out. With that being said, let's get into it. We're going to start off first with some disassembly required. This is the Wizards 2017 holiday promo card. Now, some of you may be familiar with these promo cards, some may not. Long story short, these are basically a holiday gift for business partners of Wizards of the Coast. So you get these maybe instead of a holiday card, for example, right? They give you an actual card, a Magic card. And these are all silver bordered, they're foil, they're date stamped for the year and everything. And they made some really cool ones over the years. In fact, when it gets a little closer to the holidays, I'm thinking about doing a video to kind of look back at some of these cards. But this is the 11th one. There's been quite a few now. And as you can see here, this costs 1 black. It's an enchantment. Pay a black, sacrifice a creature, distribute the sacrificed creature's keyword abilities among any number of other target creatures until end of turn. If it's December, you gain 1 life for each of those keywords. So it feels a lot like an unset card, right? That's basically what these are. And they have a Christmas theme to them. And a lot of times they have some really cool art attached to them as well. And I feel that way about this one. Actually, it looks pretty sweet. So it's a really cool idea. The only problem I have with it, of course, maybe being selfish and just being a player, not a business partner, I would like to get my hands on a card like this. And you can get them in the secondary market. And they're not super expensive, but they will cost you a little bit. So you can pick these up still at different places once they are released out there. But it is kind of expensive if you're trying to pick them up. And I mean, some players just like to collect them because they're unique, of course. Some want to use them in cubes. Even some commander groups will kind of bend the rules a little bit and let people use some silver bordered cards, so they could be sweet there, certain situations, or maybe just some casual play. So, you know, silver bordered cards, a few years back, I don't know if people cared that much about them, but in recent years, especially with cubes becoming bigger and bigger, it would be nice to see more opportunities to get our hands on cards like this, right? We have Unstable coming up. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes, which is awesome. I'm actually very happy about that. But it would be nice to get a product that maybe re-releases these or reprints these or something like that. Now, one thing they could do 4 or 5 years down the road is they could do it from the vault once they get 15 cards, right? This is the 11th. They'd have to go 4 more years, and then maybe at the end of that next year, they release all 15 and from the vault or something like that. Hopefully with a better foiling process by then. We'll see, I guess. But I think that would be super sweet, actually. Another way they could do is just do a box set. I mean, they could next year do a box set of 10 don't include this one. They'll keep it special for a little while longer, right? Maybe they could reprint these in Unstable or another unset in the future. Maybe they could even be unset masterpieces if they wanted to go down that road. So I don't know. There's just so much they could do with these to get these in the hands of players. I think it would be super cool if they did it. And I mean, that's all I really have to say about it. I'd like to hear your comments on the card and just the series of cards. And is it something you care about? I mean, a lot of players that are playing more tournament Magic probably don't care. But I think collectors or people that just want to play more casual stuff or maybe play Cube or something like that, I think would be more interested in a product like that. And I do feel like things like From the Vault really are geared to Cube players. I mean, that's kind of like your yearly Cube product, if nothing else. So maybe it makes sense there. But again, I don't know if I want to wait another 5 years for that. So it feels like a long way down the road too. So I don't know. Give me your thoughts in the comments below. And let's move on to our next topic, and that is the banned and restricted list update. So a couple days ago that came out, and there were no changes, so I didn't do a video on it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this because of something they said in the article more than anything. So what they mentioned was no changes. They felt all the formats were very healthy, everything's good, which they are. I agree. I think Standard's been very good. Last Standard season was good. This one, so far, I like a lot. It might be a little early. I don't want to jinx it, but so far, I like it a lot. It feels like the diversity's pretty good. And Modern has been awesome. I mean, Modern has been probably the best format. Maybe the best, like, moment for a format that I remember in the history of Magic. I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting some things, but I just feel like it's so diverse. There's so many different things you can go to in Modern. I mean, the only real issue with the particular format is the price of some of the singles and all, and it's hard to get into. But if you can get into it, or you already have the cards for some reason, then yeah, you know what? Modern's a great format. Really fun to play, really diverse, and you can look at a tournament like any given week, and different decks are doing well. There's some strong ones, right? Like, you know, Affinity's going to be good. Eldrazi Tron, Jeskai, Control's been pretty good lately. Of course, the Death Shadow decks, the different variants of those have been very popular. Jun's been up and down, kind of making a comeback now. But there's just so many decks. I mean, any given week, something different could win or top 8. And sometimes you see decks that are maybe mid-tier that move up into the higher tier, at least temporarily. There's just a lot happening in the format. I think it's been fantastic. Now, with that being said, I got a little nervous as I continued to read the article. And they basically alluded to the fact that the next banned and restricted list update will be January. And they probably are not going to make any changes to Modern as long as there's no bad things going on, which I read as they're not going to unban anything in Modern in January. But February, when they do the next update, or beyond February, they may consider making some changes. So they were very vague, and they didn't go into crazy detail or anything like that, but what it sounded like they were saying is they didn't want to change Modern prior to the Pro Tour that will be playing Modern. But after that's over, maybe the door is open to try something out. I like the idea of unbanning cards. I don't like the idea of banning cards, and I don't think they would do that because there's really no reason to, and we talked about this before on the show. I mean, banning cards is a bad thing. Like, it's a no-win situation, granted. Like, if the format's bad, over time, you're just going to lose players. If the format gets fixed through a banning, you're going to lose players who were built into that deck and paid into that deck and have put practice time into that deck. Some of them are going to go away, right? Because you just tore their deck out from under them, basically. But it's just, either way, you're losing. And is it the slow burn of losing people over time, or is it the quick, just kind of rip the Band-Aid off kind of burn? It's no win situation, basically, for everybody involved. And I think it's horrible when they have to do it. So I don't think they're going to do that willy-nilly, of course. Now, they might unban something, though, trying to mix things up a little bit. And that makes me nervous, because I love Modern right now. I don't get too much of a chance to play as much as I would like to or anything like that. And I don't have the cards I used to have before I had the channel and everything. But I do really appreciate the format, and I like watching it as a viewer. I like following it because it's fun. It's fun to watch. It looks like it's fun to play. Like, a lot of decks are in the running. It's awesome, right? So unbanning something makes me nervous because it could upset the balance. With that being said, if they do unban something, what do you think could get unbanned? I was thinking a little bit about it, and these are just off the top of my head, a couple thoughts. Cards that maybe wouldn't break the format, I hope. And two came to mind. Bloodbraid Elf and Deathrite Shaman. I feel like these are really good cards. Don't get me wrong. Very, very powerful cards here. I mean, Deathrite, quick drop, 1/2, and it's able to usually quickly tap for mana as well because you typically using fetch lands and such. And it also has the ability to control graveyard tactics. I'm a little surprised this hasn't already been unbanned, just because Wizards seems to not really appreciate a lot of graveyard tactics in Modern. Feels like this is a way to slow those down a little bit. So I don't know, maybe this just gets unbanned. Bloodbraid is great in Elf decks, obviously. If you just put a little red in there, it's great in a lot of other just fast-paced Zoo-style decks. And it could do a lot of stuff. But would it break the format? I think there's enough answers out there. And I think decks are fast enough now. I mean, they're even faster than when Bloodbraid was banned. Not that they were slow back then, but Modern decks can be pretty quick nowadays. So, I don't know. I feel like this could probably be fine, I hope. Cascade's always a little dangerous because Cascade itself can cause combos, but it's not like all Cascade cards are out of the format, right? Like, this one is just the only one that's banned. So, I don't know. Like, I feel like they would probably be okay. I did want to steer clear of anything that could make an easy fast combo that's on the list. I don't think they would unban anything like that. That could be kind of destructive. So another card I thought of, now this one's a little more controversial, I'm sure, and don't get me wrong, I really don't want to see any of these cards unbanned, but probably especially this one, but I don't know if it would really hurt the format all that bad, but it's this one. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Okay, hear me out on this. Yes, Jace is super powerful, but back when Modern started and they immediately banned Jace was never legal in Modern. And we remember, I mean, how good Jace was in Standard, of course. And Jace is still very good in Legacy and such. But think of it this way. The format's gotten a lot faster. A 4-drop that, if something happens to this card, and there's a lot more ways to deal with it nowadays than there was when this was printed, or even when Modern started, right? I mean, how many cards do we get now that say Destroy Creature or Planeswalker? There's a lot of ways to deal with Planeswalkers that we didn't have before. So if I'm going to spend 4 mana, 2 on color for this, well, hopefully I'm getting some value out of it. And I will get some value out of it, probably. Whether it's just a brainstorm, maybe I just use one of the abilities. That could be good enough, right? It's still a very powerful, super versatile card. But if my opponent can deal with it, and combine that with the faster nature of the format, since, of course, the format started, maybe this card is not that bad. Again, I don't really want to live in a world where we try it out, because I just think Modern is fine. But would it totally destroy the format? I don't think so. But I don't want to take that risk either. And I kind of wonder, does Wizards want to take a risk like this? It sounds like they want to. Maybe not with Jace, but it sounds like they want to take a risk. Maybe a really calculated one, but it sounds like they want to take a risk. Because if you could imagine for a moment, like they did unban one of these cards, and not just Modern, like anything, maybe even Standard, or say Looter Scooter, or something like that, or something in Legacy. If it really unbalanced the situation, they had to just go back and ban it again, that's going to look really bad for them. And again, it's just going to upset more people that bought into that card during that time period and such. And that's just not a good idea. So you're taking a risk. And if the format's good, why are you taking the risk is my question. So I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. A couple things. I want to hear, do you think Wizards should take this risk? Is it important enough to do it? Or is the format just fine the way it is? If no one's really upset about it, then why create a situation where maybe you make people upset, right? Secondly, if they do unban something, what do you like to see unbanned? What do you think would be safe? What do you maybe just selfishly want to see unbanned? So let me know. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens early next year. I don't think they're going to touch Standard, again, unless there's a mistake made. But hopefully, it looks like the pieces are in place now. They're going to do a better job at testing sets and such. So that's really bad. They can't afford to be banning Standard cards. I think that's really a bad thing that we saw the past year or so. Modern, yeah, I understand there's going to be bannings from time to time. Definitely Legacy, even Vintage, maybe more restricted cards in Vintage. But I do feel like that's to somewhat be expected. But if Wizards makes the problem on their own, that's going to look bad. So, yeah, I guess we'll find out. All right, last topic I want to talk about today. This one I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on. But I want to know, are they making too many products? And here's the list of what's coming out over the next few months. We're going to go through these item by item, talk about them a little bit. There's a lot of stuff here on this list. Some of them are supplemental products. Some are standard sets. A couple of them are master sets. We already had a master set earlier this year, Modern Masters 2017. Well, we're about to get another one, as you know. And in March of next year, we're getting another one. So does this mean master sets are not going to be 2 a year? And if so, that's a lot of money for anyone interested in those sets, much less everything else on this list. So let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Merfolk versus Goblins. Just did a video the other day on this because Wizards revealed the deck list. I don't think it was intentional, but they did reveal the deck list. And yeah, this is a $20 product. You can get this at your Walmart, Target, or your LGS. This is really geared for casual players, newer players, that type of thing. And okay, maybe that's fine. Maybe not every player is going to want to buy this. It's only 20 bucks. It's not too bad. Let's keep going. Iconic Masters. Okay, now here's the hardcore entry in the list for the end of the year. Iconic Masters is going to come out a week after Merfolk versus Goblins. And this is going to consist of $10 booster packs and 24 packs per box. So box retail price running at $240. You can usually find them a little cheaper, sometimes between $200 to $230, right? So look around a little bit, especially once people start getting them in stock and they start thinking about getting rid of them, prices will stabilize. But aside from all that, Iconic Masters, it's a master set. It's really expensive. And some players like to kind of play the lottery. Maybe you want that foil mana drain, for example, or maybe you're just looking to play this for limited purposes. But even drafting this is expensive. I mean, $30 a draft. How many drafts are you going to be able to do, right? I mean, 3 drafts is like $100. That's not even counting prize support. That's just for the packs. So if you're just playing with your friends, $30, assuming you can find them at retail, and then on top of that, if you're playing at your store, paying for prize support, you're paying a lot of money, right? So that's Iconic Masters. Explorers of Ixalan. Okay, this is super confusing. A week later, we get 2 products, actually. The first being Explorers of Ixalan. And this is another box set. So you find this at LGS's, but also Targets and Walmarts. This one is $64.99. And it contains 4 60-card decks and some tiles, which adds an extra element of game to your gameplay. And basically what that does is you can pay mana to flip a tile and you get the ability on the tile. It seems kind of fun, actually. And there's some really cool reprints in here. We did a video on this last week, so check that out if you want more detail. But it's not cheap. I mean, 65 bucks, but again, it's more of a casual product. I think of this product as something that if I used to play Magic and I have friends that used to play, maybe they don't play anymore, they don't have decks anymore, that we can have game night, like board game night, pull this out and just play Magic and, you know, just have a good time with it. But also, too, there's some really good reprints, so that's going to draw some more hardcore players or players that are just looking to pick up these certain singles into the market as well. So that could be interesting, right? And like I said, not a cheap product. Also, that same week, we get From the Vault Transform. Okay, From the Vault products, now, they typically are hard to find at retail price. They typically do run you closer to $60 to $100, depending on where and when you pick them up. So even though retail price is cheaper than that, it's not really expected that you're going to find them for that, sadly. But a lot of players don't like the From the Vault series due to the foiling process. They use a special foiling process, tends to warp the cards a little bit. It looks cool, but it's not really worth the warping. I mean, you can flatten your cards out. I've done it, but really, when you pay that much for something, should you have to, I guess is the question. I do like these for cube players. Again, these are for more hardcore players, cube players, collectors, that type of thing. So it is a different market. I mean, all this stuff is a little bit different and it's supposed to appeal to a different player. So maybe that makes it okay. I don't know. But From the Vault Transform is going to consist of 15 reprints, transform cards from the past. So sounds like it could be cool. Next, we get Unstable in December. Now, this one kind of hurts me a little bit. Here's my thought on it. I like unsets. I think they're awesome. Unstable looks like it will be super sweet. We haven't really seen a lot of the set yet, but we have seen one reprint, and we, of course, saw the basic lands, which look amazing, by the way. And I want to buy packs just to get these basic lands. But here's my concern is, Unstable, it's not tournament legal. It's another silver bordered product that you can still play casually. You can throw it in a cube. Some players will kind of allow you to play in Commander, certain play groups and stuff. But for the most part, it is casual. You can't play these cards in Standard, Modern, Legacy, so on and so forth. So because of that, is that going to hurt the product considering it is surrounded by all of these other products? What's going to happen with this? Because if it doesn't sell well, we're never seeing another Unset again. And I'm afraid it's not going to sell well because it's being sandwiched in between all of this product. Now, if this came out last year, back when we had our October set came out, and then in November we had our Commander decks. In December we really had nothing. Later in January we got the next small standard set, but okay, I felt like maybe I would buy 1 or 2 of the Commander decks or something like that, but I'm probably maybe a little tired of the October set at that point, so maybe I play some Unstable Limited with my friends or something like that. feel like it would have been better off than what we're looking at now, where it's just coming off the heels of a master set, which is going to drain everybody's wallet. And people are going to be thinking about that next master set, which is just going to be a few months away at that point. So I feel like they really have put this set in a spot where it's going to have a hard time to be successful. And that makes me sad, because I want this to be successful, because I want to see more of these. Like I was saying, I'd love to see some of these silver cards get reprinted in future sets, like the promo cards and such. So yeah, it kind of is what it is, I guess. Rivals of Ixalan comes around in January. That, of course, is our next standard set. It's the last small standard set. So small sets sometimes give you a little bit of a break to the wallet, because even though, I mean, there's still Magic sets coming out, but being a smaller set, if you're trying to buy singles or something like that, it doesn't take as many packs to get open to start to flood the market with singles. And also, too, if you just buy packs and you want to get certain cards, it's easier to hit those cards and such in a small set. But this is your last one, the last small standard set. After that, they're all going to be large sets. And after that, we get Masters 25, another master set. $10 a pack, $240 a box for 24 packs. And it sounds cool. Basically, this sounds like Eternal Masters revisited again, which I love. The set Eternal Masters, really fun to play limited, but again, a very, very expensive endeavor. They'll put some cool stuff in it, no doubt, but it's going to be expensive. It's definitely going to cost to play limited or crack packs of it. Then we go into the next large set, Dominaria in April, just a few weeks later. And Dominaria is sweet because it is the original Magic land. And people have been wanting to go back to Dominaria for a while now. I'm one of them. Very excited about it, but I almost feel like it's going to be hard for Wizards to live up to the expectations too. Because Magic's changed a lot since we've been to Dominaria. And the whole idea of adding more lore, which could include, definitely will include Planeswalkers, and probably will include the Gatewatch. Some people won't like that, I don't think. I also think that people are going to be looking for maybe some big reprints, which you're not going to see, I don't think. They're going to show us Dominaria today. In today's Magic, what would Dominaria be like? Which I'm still cool with. Like, I'm on board, because I think there'll be enough little hint, nudges for me to be like, oh, that's so cool. But I don't think it's going to be really, like, in your face, this is Dominaria from the old days, like maybe Time Spiral block was, because they don't want to leave new players out of the inside joke or out of the lore, right? So I think a lot of established players might be disappointed by this, which is too bad, because I'm looking forward to it, and I think I'm going to have fun with it no matter what, but that's just me. I tend to be probably ultra positive sometimes when it comes to this stuff. So, and then after that, we're going to get a core set in the summer. That's not on the list here, but that's going to be a large standard set as well. Wow, right? So here's my thought on it. I mean, I'm in a unique place now. I'm not the Magic buyer anymore that I used to be like a few years back before I had this channel. The way I engage with the game and engage with Magic is through all of you by making videos. So I'm not one to go out and buy a lot of product anymore. I buy some limited product, like, for example, I might play in a draft or a sealed tournament here and there. Or I buy stuff to open on the channel, basically. And you see everything I buy, basically, on the channel. I open it here. So, a couple boxes of each set, usually. Which, yeah, can get expensive for master sets. They're not too bad for regular standard sets. But I don't typically open, like, the dual decks on the channel. I used to, but I didn't do that last time. I probably won't open Explorers of Ixalan on the channel. Maybe from the vault, I don't know. I guess we'll kind of see. I have opened those in the past. And I'll open, some boxes, of course, of standard sets and such. But that's me. I'm not paying a lot anymore into products like I used to. And if I really want to build a deck, I'm just going to buy the singles. And I think a lot of people are in that mindset nowadays. So I guess what I want to know from all of you that maybe engage more in purchasing packs or purchasing supplemental products, is this okay? Are you okay with this? Is this fine? Is it too much? Or is it not enough? Do you want more? And if it is okay, why is it okay? For example, is it fine because you feel like these are all geared to different players or different types of players? So maybe you care about the standard sets, but you don't really care about anything else. Or maybe you care about the master sets, but that's all you care about. Or maybe you just care about the fun side products like the dual deck and the Explorers of Ixalan, which is very confusing to me. Rivals of Ixalan, Explorers of Ixalan. But anyway, but maybe you're into that, and that's fine for you. Like, you're going to buy what you want to buy. Now, me, I had a problem back in the day, and I'm glad I kind of kicked this habit, but I had a hard time not engaging in a product when they put it out, no matter what it was. Even if I wasn't like super psyched about it, like a dual deck that's like, okay, I still bought it. And I'm just afraid that too much product will start to burn people out, especially those completionist type people. And I was one of those people, and that's a hard habit to break sometimes. When you're like a completionist and you want to engage in every one of these products, that's going to become very expensive. Not necessarily saying you want complete sets of all these or 4 of each card or anything like that, but you want to crack packs of each of these, right? You want to maybe play some limited with each of these. You want to use Explorers of Ixalan and Merfolk versus Goblins. You want to pick up that from the vault for your cube. Like, for those people, maybe the unstable cards for limited, or because the lands are really cool, right? Like, for those people, I think they could get burned out, and that's dangerous, because when they get burned out and they can't complete, they don't feel like they can be the completionist, a lot of times they move on to other stuff, and that happens, and that worries me a little bit. The other thing that worries me is just spreading out the wealth. I mean, at what point is it counterintuitive for Wizards to produce a set if they're just going to cannibalize themselves by taking money away from the 2 sets around it, right? Like, is Masters 25 a good idea if it's going to pull funding away from Rivals of Ixalan and Dominaria, right? That's kind of another thing that I just wonder. I don't know logistically what their costs are for printing or creating a new set or anything like that, and maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it all evens out in the wash either way, but it feels to me like they're going to start competing with themselves, which is very dangerous. We saw this in other industries in the past. I mean, a lot of times I'll talk about the comic book industry on these shows, but comic book industry in the 90s is the perfect example of that. I mean, take a company like Valiant, which was very successful, very popular in the early 90s. They were successful because they created a small universe, and readers were able to read all their comics every month. And it wasn't super expensive. It wasn't too much time and very time consuming, but they were able to follow this small, tight group of characters. And when they got popular, a lot of speculators came in because their print runs were a little bit lower. They were a new company. Speculators started jumping in, picking these up because they were going up in value due to the lower print runs. Valiant kind of boomed. They decided, wow, we're selling a ton of stuff. Let's make more titles. And all the people that jumped off, like Marvel and DC, because there were too much out there, too many titles to follow, they loved Valiant. And all of a sudden, Valiant was turning into a new Marvel and DC, and those people got burned out. They jumped off. Meanwhile, sadly, Valiant didn't know there was a problem because there were speculators hoarding all the comics. So eventually, they quietly lost their fan base while they're still selling all this stuff. And then when the speculators dipped out and they realized, wait a minute, they're printing 1 million of these each, these aren't going to be worth nothing, they jump out and the company goes bankrupt. They get bought out by Acclaim, the video game company, which eventually dissolves and sells off their properties. And they were kind of in limbo for many years. Recently, a few years back, somebody else did buy the characters and the company name and relaunched it. And they are now doing a small kind of tight universe again. And that's cool. It's very successful. But the original Valiant company basically just busted. So I'm not saying that's going to happen with Wizards or anything like that, but I do think some of the lessons from things like that can be learned here. If you overproduce and burn your players out, you're going to lose them, and you might not even know you've lost them because the speculators are going to keep you going until the speculators can't sell the product to anybody anymore. And then they dip out and you're in a bad place, right? So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on all this. Just again, I'm kind of just stream of thoughting this a little bit. And, like I said, I don't think Wizards going to go bankrupt or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But, I do feel like they could maybe hurt themselves a little bit financially, maybe kind of go through another recession in the game a little bit if they're not careful with things like this. Just spread it out a little bit. I love all these products. Like, I want to play with these, but just give me a little more time, spread them out a little bit. I realize standard sets are going to have to come out on a schedule, but, maybe 1 or 2 less things this year, put them into later next year. I don't know. With that being said, that's our last topic for the day. Like I said, I enjoy talking to y'all, being able to do something a little more casually every once in a while instead of a big information dump. Got a lot happening over the next few weeks. Of course, we'll do another market watch on Saturday, so tune in for that. We'll see what's going on in the world of the secondary market. But hey, until next time, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.